So, why are we reading Kierkegaard's The Sickness Unto Death? Well, um, I would say the same thing that I said about The Republic. It is such a classic, it is such a great work that it just deserves to be read. But why are we reading it for this course now? Well, because of what it says about, well, what does it say about me? Kierkegaard does not have a theory of human nature. That's not what he's doing. Um, Plato had a theory of human nature. For various reasons, that is not how Kierkegaard would put it. Uh, because, first of all, this book is not about being a human being. This book is about being a self. And right away, in the opening paragraph, as we'll see how it is that Kierkegaard distinguishes the being a human being from being a self. He's very explicit. Being a human being does not mean that you are necessarily a self. You're born a human being. You become a self. And the degree to which you become a self is a matter of your own experience and effort as a human being, but you will not necessarily become a self. You have to try. So, um, okay, if this is a class about human nature, why are we reading a book that doesn't really concern itself with human nature? Well, um, let's not call ourselves human at this point or talk about having a nature. Let's just say we want to understand ourselves. And Kierkegaard gives us a certain approach or a certain way of understanding ourselves as selves. It is a Christian way. There's no question about it. I mean, I told you in the introduction to the course that one approach is the rationalist approach to self understanding, and another is the religious approach. And this is our representative of the religious approach. There are different texts that we could have read that would have generally been a religious approach, but a different sort of religious approach. This is a Christian approach of a certain sort. It's not Thomas Aquinas. It's not really very Catholic. It's really very Protestant. It's Kierkegaard's individual, personal Protestant theology. His understanding of what it means to be a being who is always in the presence of God, I would say, is what he's doing, is describing. Um, so Plato might have said that there's just no way you can understand yourself unless you understand that you are essentially a rational being. I would say that Kierkegaard would say there is just no way that you can understand yourself unless you understand that you are always in the presence of God. Now, whether that's true or not, just as with Plato, it's not clear, but I think that is what he's saying. So, why are we reading this? Because it's a particular approach to our self understanding. What Kierkegaard will be saying is that you are in a certain condition, and that condition is the condition of always being in the presence of God. And what is the book about? The book is about a journey that the self makes on its way to becoming a self in the fullest sense. And as we'll see, he has a certain notion of self consciousness as being the method by which we become selves. That is, becoming a self is not about being a human being so much as being a being that is aware of itself as a self. So, increasing levels of self consciousness are the journey. And as we'll see, it is a specifically religious conception because Kierkegaard sees the progressive levels of self consciousness as being in really identical with a progressive level of the consciousness of God. That is, there's no way that a human being can become more self conscious without realizing, in a deeper and deeper sense, that they are in the presence of God. So it is a specifically religious conception, and it is a Christian conception. There's no question about it. We could have looked at documents of other religions or works written by philosophers from other religions, and that would have been fine. This just happens to be the one that I feel most affinity for myself, and I'm most knowledgeable about. I know well enough that I can teach it. It is a journey, and that journey is not always a happy one. That is, it's a certain view of religious experience, which is really pretty gloomy in many aspects. I mean, it ends well, but the concept of sickness and the concept of despair are the central concepts. So, as we'll see, it's pretty rough going. I mean, it's funny. He's written in a very humorous way. He's written in a humorous way. It is a little grueling, but then again, becoming a self may be grueling.